I'm Erick Nodland with Director of Operations at Erickson.
Ray Touzeau, Assistant Director of Operations and Chief Pilot.
Erickson started back by Jack Erickson back in the early 70s and started off with logging and firefighting, and it's morphed since then. We acquired some other companies, and now we operate, we do all sorts of things. It's one of the most diverse companies you'll ever come across in aviation. We have fixed wing, different types of fixed wing. I mean, we can do anything from LCLA, which is low altitude, low cost aerial delivery. We can do passenger transport. On the helicopter side, we've got the Bell helicopters, the 214 ST, which we can build one. We can actually produce a data plate and build a helicopter, same just like Erickson Aircrane, skycrane, which everyone knows. And we've been doing that since 1974.
We've got a very diverse background, but to shorten it, I was still in high school when I did my pilot training. At that point, there was nobody hiring, so I was very persistent. So I went and got my engineer license up in Canada, and then moved on to the States because I married my beautiful bride. And so I moved down here. I still couldn't find a job, but I was still persistent working at FBOs and things like that. And I went to the U.S. military, so I got to go work as a sheet metal guy there. And I was still a licensed pilot, licensed mechanic, and went there and got a good opportunity at Evergreen back in the day, 1995, and they gave me an opportunity to come work for them. And so since then, it's just a lot of hard work, devotion, a lot of sacrifice, and the sacrifice has paid off for me and my family. And I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to the year coming up.
Okay, joined the Army, flew for the Army back in the first Gulf War, if you can believe that. But I got out and decided to go to college, had a 5-year plan, stuck to it. After I went to college, I went to the Air Force and flew some special ops and some rescue birds, and then I had an opportunity to go fixed wing in the Air Force, so I did that. And, during there I picked up my flight instructor, helicopter, instrument, and multi-engine, and instrument airplane, and I never stopped. Always expand my horizons. And I think that's also a message to anybody who wants a job. Don't ever miss an opportunity to educate yourself, to expand your horizon, and that's I think that's kind of what our company's based on. I mean, it's success of expanding horizons into something.
What's new for Erickson this year? I actually got to go fly. Did you get to go fly the composite blades? Composite blades on the crane. We hope to get certification this year. Looking positive on that. And then we have our Korean machines that we're going to be putting the composite blades on that. So we also have sold 3 cranes to Korea. So there's a lot going on. Normally we'd fly with a split track and everything else. Now they fly with an even track, a lot smoother actually. I was kind of surprised.
Yeah, it brings the 20th century into the 21st century blades. All different, composite versus metal. And, amazing. I want attitude first.
Agreed.
I hire a person. However, as a chief pilot, we also need...
Yeah, we have certain limitations. I mean, we have our insurance requirements, but for the most part, we're looking at 1,500 hours normally, 2,000 hours multi-engine, but we do look at area of operation experience, just background history. If the individual's been there, done that, if we have combat vets who've had 1,200 hours, and we brought them in early because they've been there and they know what their business is. So what best person to have in the cockpit than somebody's been there, right?
Yeah. Well, I'd want to encourage anybody, though, to go out, do your time, don't give up, get a paying job as soon as you can, get paid for flying versus paying for flying, and don't ever give up. Take any job you can, but if you're going to take a job, do that job to perfection. Don't go be a flight instructor and say, I'm building flight time. Go be a flight instructor and be the best flight instructor you can be. That'll make you the best whatever you're going to be. But don't, do what you got to do. We all did it. So it's a gregreat way. Learn the ropes. Don't be afraid to learn the ropes, because I guarantee you that's what you'll remember the most. So we have every reason to believe Erickson's going to be successful, more successful in the coming few years than even in the past. And as we get bigger, we're going to hire more pilots. And if you want to be I've heard people say Ericsson's a destination. If you're an airline guy, you want to go to Delta. If you're a helicopter guy, Ericsson's the way to go. And so anybody out there who wants a job with Erickson, keep an eye on Erickson, and come on by.
How many pilots do you have?
How many pilots do we have?
We have just a little over, I believe, 115. That's on the minimum side right now. So we're hoping to increase that as soon as we pick up some of these government contracts this year. Well, skycrane, I mean, it's actually impressively nimble for the size of aircraft it is. We log with it, and being in the aircraft that, it outperforms a Bell Jet Ranger, I mean, by maneuvers wise. So if you can imagine that, the construction side, it's not needing to be nimble, it needs to be stable, and it's one of the best platforms in the world to be doing what it does.
One of the things that's interesting is I've flown a Robbie, an R-22, an R-44, and a skycrane. Got 2,500 hours in a Black Hawk, and flown some pretty good-sized fixed wing. If you can fly a Robinson, you can fly a helicopter. And don't let anybody ever tell you that. It's not true. So a helicopter pilot is a helicopter pilot is a helicopter pilot. And if you can fly those aircraft, you know what? What's behind you isn't nearly as important as what's in front of you. But a good pilot is a good pilot. And don't ever be afraid to oh, well, I've never flown anything that big. It's just a helicopter. A lot of our aircraft are operating overseas, but I think you're going to see an expansion here in the United States too. And then you couple that with what Erickson can do, which I don't even know other companies that can do this. We can fly them, maintain them, build them, and innovate in them. And I mean, that's just amazing. You go see our MRO facilities and some of the contracts we're doing with the military and other areas. We're taking some aircraft from the ground up, tearing them apart, and rebuilding them all the way up. Some massive aircraft. It's just an amazing capability. And I don't know of any other companies that have all of that in one area. And that's what I love about Erickson.